What if the real reason you couldn't lose belly fat has nothing to do with how much you eat, but everything to do with a hidden type of carb sitting on your plate right now? Most people spend years blaming calories, genetics, or lack of willpower, when the truth is far more shocking. Certain carbohydrates you consume daily are silently destroying your ability to burn fat, no matter how hard you try. This video exposes the exact carbs sabotaging your weight loss and reveals the scientifically backed strategy to eliminate abdominal fat by making one simple swap in your meals. You're about to discover why traditional fitness advice keeps you trapped in a cycle of frustration, how these dangerous carbs manipulate your hormones to block fat burning, and the precise method to boost metabolism so your body becomes a 24/7 fat-burning machine. If you've struggled with stubborn weight, low energy, or constant cravings, the next few minutes will change everything you thought you knew about healthy meal plans and slimming down for good. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear blueprint to lose weight healthily, eliminate the foods keeping you stuck, and unlock the metabolic switch that makes fat loss feel effortless instead of impossible. This isn't about starving yourself or following extreme diets. This is about understanding your biology and using it to finally achieve the body you deserve. Every single day, millions of people wake up determined to lose weight fast, only to find themselves defeated by evening, wondering why their efforts never translate into real fat-burning results. They count calories religiously, skip meals, avoid desserts, and still watch the scale refuse to budge. The frustration builds into hopelessness, and eventually, they conclude that their body is simply broken or that weight loss is impossible for them. But here's the truth that nobody in the mainstream fitness industry wants you to understand. Your body is unbroken, and you're not lacking discipline. You're simply feeding it the wrong type of carbohydrates, and these specific carbs are biologically programmed to shut down every attempt your metabolism makes to burn stored fat. The carbohydrates I'm talking about aren't the obvious villains like candy bars or soda. These are foods that appear on nearly every healthy meal plan, recommended by nutritionists, promoted as wholesome choices, and consumed by people who genuinely believe they're making smart decisions for their health. Yet beneath the surface, these seemingly innocent carbs trigger a hormonal cascade that locks fat inside your cells, prevents your body from accessing stored energy, and keeps you trapped in a state of constant hunger and low energy. When you understand how this mechanism works, you will realize why so many weight loss tips fail and why the mental health resources you need often get overlooked when your blood sugar is on a roller coaster ride that never stops. Your body operates on a delicate balance of hormones, enzymes, and metabolic signals that determine whether you store fat or release it. Every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin to manage the incoming nutrients. Insulin is essential for survival, but when it remains elevated for prolonged periods, it acts like a lock on your fat cells, preventing any possibility of fat burning. The specific carbohydrates that cause this problem are those that digest rapidly, flood your bloodstream with glucose, and force your pancreas into overdrive. Even if you're eating moderate portions, even if you're exercising regularly, even if you're doing everything the fitness gurus tell you to do, these carbs will sabotage your progress because they keep insulin elevated throughout the day. What makes this situation even more insidious is that these carbs are often marketed as health foods. They come in packages labeled whole grain, heart healthy, or natural, creating the illusion that you're making intelligent choices. But marketing language doesn't change biochemistry. Your body doesn't care about labels or advertising claims. It responds only to the molecular structure of what you consume. And when that structure causes rapid glucose spikes, your metabolism shifts immediately into storage mode rather than burning mode. This is why people who religiously follow popular healthy meal plans still struggle to eliminate abdominal fat, still wake up exhausted, and still experience cravings that derail their best intentions. The psychological toll of this metabolic trap extends far beyond physical appearance. When you consistently fail to lose weight healthily despite genuine effort, it damages your self-esteem, creates anxiety around food, and reinforces negative beliefs about your worthiness and capability. This is where mental health resources become critically important, because the stress and frustration of failed weight loss attempts can spiral into deeper emotional struggles. Your body's inability to access fat for fuel directly impacts your brain's access to stable energy, leading to mood swings, irritability, brain fog, and a sense of being trapped in a body that won't cooperate. The carbs you're eating aren't just stopping fat loss, they're affecting your entire quality of life. Understanding which carbohydrates cause this problem requires looking beyond surface-level nutrition advice and examining how different foods interact with your endocrine system. Not all carbs are created equal. Some digest slowly, release glucose gradually, and allow your body to maintain stable insulin levels that permit fat burning to occur naturally. Others hit your bloodstream like a tidal wave, causing immediate insulin surges that shut down lipolysis, the scientific term for the breakdown of fat cells. The difference between these two categories determines whether you wake up lean and energized or bloated and sluggish, whether you can lose belly fat or watch it accumulate despite your best efforts. The foods causing this metabolic disaster are consumed at breakfast tables, packed into lunchboxes, served at dinner tables, and recommended by well-meaning health professionals who haven't updated their knowledge in decades. These are the breads, the pastas, the rice varieties, the breakfast cereals, the granola bars, the crackers, and the countless processed products that dominate grocery store shelves. They've been normalized to such an extent that questioning their role in your diet feels almost rebellious. Yet, rebellion against outdated nutritional dogma is exactly what's required if you want to achieve real, sustainable slimming and break free from the cycle of temporary weight loss followed by inevitable regain. When you consume these rapid-digesting carbohydrates, especially early in the day, you set yourself up for metabolic failure that compounds throughout the hours that follow. Your blood sugar spikes within minutes, triggering a massive insulin release that drives glucose into cells but also signals your body to stop burning fat immediately. As insulin levels remain elevated, your body becomes increasingly resistant to its signals, requiring even more insulin to achieve the same effect. This insulin resistance is the gateway to serious metabolic dysfunction. But long before it reaches clinical levels, it's already destroying your ability to lose weight fast or maintain any progress you manage to achieve. The tragedy is that most people interpret their lack of results as personal failure rather than recognizing the biochemical reality that certain foods are actively working against their goals. They blame themselves for lacking willpower when they experience cravings, not realizing those cravings are the direct result of blood sugar crashes caused by the very carbs they were told to eat. They feel guilty for being hungry between meals, unaware that their insulin levels are preventing their body from accessing the thousands of calories stored as fat. This disconnect between effort and results creates a psychological burden that makes sustained weight loss feel impossible, leading many people to give up entirely or fall into destructive patterns of extreme restriction followed by binge eating. Breaking free from this carbohydrate trap doesn't require starvation, extreme fitness regimens, or complicated supplement protocols. It requires precise knowledge about which foods support fat burning and which ones sabotage it, combined with strategic implementation that works with your biology rather than against it. The solution begins with identifying and eliminating the specific carbs that keep insulin elevated, then replacing them with alternatives that provide sustained energy without triggering metabolic shutdown. This shift creates an entirely different internal environment, one where your body can finally access stored fat, where cravings diminish naturally, and where weight loss tips actually produce measurable results instead of empty promises. The first step in this transformation involves understanding that your body has two primary fuel sources: glucose from carbohydrates and fatty acids from stored body fat. In an ideal metabolic state, your body switches flexibly between these sources depending on availability and need. This flexibility is called metabolic adaptability, and it's the hallmark of a healthy metabolism capable of maintaining lean body composition effortlessly. However, when you constantly consume rapid-digesting carbs, your body becomes locked into glucose dependency, never developing the enzymatic machinery needed to efficiently burn fat. You become metabolically inflexible, trapped in a state where you can only burn what you just ate rather than what you stored. Restoring metabolic flexibility requires a period of deliberate carbohydrate selection where you prioritize foods that digest slowly, release glucose gradually, and allow insulin to return to baseline levels between meals. This doesn't mean eliminating all carbohydrates. That approach often backfires by creating unsustainable restriction and hormonal imbalances that ultimately slow metabolism. Instead, it means choosing carbohydrates with specific structural properties that prevent rapid glucose absorption. These are the carbs rich in fiber, resistant starches, and complex molecular structures that require extensive digestive processing before they can enter your bloodstream. When you make this shift, something remarkable happens within your physiology. Your pancreas gets a break from constant insulin production, allowing your cells to regain sensitivity to insulin's signals. As sensitivity improves, smaller amounts of insulin become sufficient to manage blood glucose, and those lower insulin levels permit fat cells to release their stored energy. Your body begins producing enzymes specifically designed for fat metabolism. Pathways that may have been dormant for years suddenly reactivate, and you start experiencing what genuine fat burning feels like. It's not dramatic or flashy, it's steady, consistent, and sustainable. The kind of slimming that doesn't disappear the moment you have a normal meal. The psychological transformation that accompanies this metabolic shift often surprises people, more than the physical changes. When your blood sugar stabilizes, your brain receives consistent fuel instead of the peaks and valleys that create mood instability. Anxiety decreases, focus improves, and the obsessive thoughts about food that dominated your mental space begin to fade. This is where mental health resources become integrated naturally into your weight loss journey. Because stable glucose means stable neurotransmitter production, which means better emotional regulation and resilience. You're not just losing belly fat, you're reclaiming mental clarity and emotional balance. Implementing these changes within your daily routine requires practical strategies that fit real life, rather than idealized versions of perfect eating. You don't need to prepare complicated recipes or source exotic ingredients. You need to understand which common foods support your goals and build simple, repeatable, healthy meal plans around them. Vegetables rich in fiber become foundational. Legumes and beans provide slow-release carbohydrates alongside protein. Whole food sources in their minimally processed forms replace the refined products that dominated your previous diet. These aren't sacrifices, they're upgrades that make you feel better while simultaneously supporting fat burning. The timing of your carbohydrate intake also plays a crucial role in optimizing metabolism. Consuming the right carbs during your first meal establishes metabolic tone for the entire day, preventing the insulin spikes that would otherwise set you up for cravings and energy crashes later. Spacing your meals appropriately allows insulin to fall between eating occasions, creating windows where your body can tap into stored fat. This rhythmic eating pattern works with your circadian biology, supporting natural hormonal fluctuations that enhance fat loss during sleep and maintain lean tissue during waking hours. Many people discover that once they eliminate the problematic carbs and establish this new eating rhythm, their appetite naturally regulates to appropriate levels. They no longer experience the ravenous hunger that previously drove them towards snacking and overeating. Satiety signals work properly again because hormones like leptin and ghrelin can function without constant interference from insulin dysregulation. This makes it dramatically easier to lose weight healthily because you're not fighting biological drives, you're working in harmony with them. The sensation of genuine hunger becomes distinct from cravings, and you develop the ability to recognize true physiological needs versus emotional or habitual eating patterns. The impact on fitness performance deserves special attention because many people fear that reducing certain carbohydrates will compromise their exercise capacity. In reality, the opposite often occurs. Once your body becomes efficient at burning fat, you gain access to a virtually unlimited fuel source during moderate intensity activity. Your endurance improves, your recovery enhances, and you can maintain exercise intensity for longer periods without bonking or hitting the wall. The stored fat you're carrying represents tens of thousands of calories of potential energy, but your body can only access it when insulin levels permit. By controlling the carbs that spike insulin, you unlock this energy reservoir and boost metabolism both during and after physical activity. This metabolic reprogramming also protects against the muscle loss that plagues many weight loss attempts. When insulin sensitivity improves and your body becomes adept at fat burning, it preferentially uses fat for energy while preserving lean muscle tissue. Muscle is metabolically expensive to maintain, so your body won't sacrifice it unless absolutely necessary. By providing adequate protein and managing carbohydrate intake strategically, you create an environment where fat loss occurs while muscle remains intact. This preservation of lean mass is critical for long-term success because muscle tissue drives your resting metabolic rate, determining how many calories you burn simply by existing. The long-term success of any approach to eliminate abdominal fat depends not on short-term restriction but on sustainable patterns that become integrated into your lifestyle without constant effort or vigilance. This is where most weight loss tips fail catastrophically. They prescribe temporary measures that produce temporary results, leaving people trapped in cycles of losing and regaining the same weight repeatedly. The carbohydrate strategy we're discussing operates differently because it addresses root metabolic dysfunction rather than merely creating caloric deficits through deprivation. When you fix the underlying problem, the symptom excess body fat resolves naturally and stays resolved as long as you maintain the metabolic environment that supports fat burning. One of the most powerful aspects of this approach is how it normalizes your relationship with food. Instead of viewing meals as potential threats to your progress, you begin seeing them as opportunities to nourish your metabolism and support your goals. The fear and anxiety that previously surrounded eating dissolve as you gain confidence in understanding how different foods affect your body. You develop intuitive knowledge about which choices will leave you energized and satisfied versus which ones will trigger cravings and crashes. This food literacy is invaluable because it makes healthy meal plans feel effortless rather than restrictive, transforming nutrition from a source of stress into a source of empowerment. The social dimensions of eating also become easier to navigate once you've established metabolic flexibility. You're no longer dependent on eating every few hours to maintain energy, which means you can attend social events, travel, or handle unexpected schedule changes without derailing your progress. You can enjoy meals with friends and family without obsessing over every ingredient because your baseline metabolism is strong enough to handle occasional variations. This flexibility is psychologically liberating and practically essential for maintaining results over years rather than weeks. True health exists in the space between rigid control and complete abandon, and metabolic adaptability gives you the tools to occupy that space comfortably. As your body becomes increasingly efficient at fat burning, you'll notice changes that extend beyond the obvious physical transformations. Your skin often improves as inflammation decreases and nutrient absorption enhances. Your sleep quality may deepen as blood sugar stabilizes and cortisol patterns normalize. Your immune function strengthens as metabolic stress decreases and cellular repair processes optimized. These systemic improvements reflect the reality that metabolism is isolated to weight management, TS, the foundation of nearly every physiological process in your body. When you support it properly, every system benefits. The mental and emotional benefits of stable blood sugar and efficient fat metabolism cannot be overstated, particularly regarding mental health resources and psychological well-being. Depression, anxiety, and mood disorders often have metabolic components that conventional medicine overlooks. When your brain lacks stable fuel, when inflammation runs high, when hormonal signaling becomes chaotic, your emotional state suffers regardless of external circumstances. By stabilizing your metabolism through intelligent carbohydrate selection, you create neurochemical conditions that support emotional resilience, cognitive clarity, and psychological stability. Many people report that managing their nutrition this way provides more mood improvement than they achieved through other interventions. Sustaining these results over time requires understanding that metabolism is dynamic, not static. Your needs will change based on activity levels, stress, sleep quality, hormonal cycles, and countless other factors. The goal is not to achieve perfect adherence to rigid rules, but to develop metabolic resilience that allows your body to handle normal life variations without defaulting back to fat storage mode. This resilience comes from consistently providing your body with the right types of carbohydrates that support rather than sabotage fat burning, while also allowing enough flexibility that occasional deviations don't spiral into complete abandonment of healthy patterns. The concept of losing weight fast requires reframing in this context. While initial changes often produce noticeable results within days or weeks, the most valuable transformations occur over months as your body fully adapts to functioning as a fat-burning organism. Rapid weight loss through extreme restriction might seem appealing, but it typically represents water loss and muscle depletion rather than genuine fat reduction. The slower, steadier approach of metabolic optimization produces fat loss that stays lost, because you've fundamentally changed how your body processes energy rather than temporarily forcing it into deficit through willpower alone. For individuals who have struggled with fitness and found traditional exercise recommendations overwhelming or ineffective, improving metabolism through nutrition often becomes the gateway to sustainable physical activity. When you're no longer trapped in glucose dependency, exercise feels energizing rather than depleting. You recover faster, adapt more efficiently, and can maintain consistency without experiencing the burnout that comes from training in a metabolically compromised state. Movement becomes something you want to do rather than something you force yourself through, and this shift in perception makes long-term adherence dramatically more likely. The practical implementation of these principles doesn't require perfection or complexity. Start by identifying which carbohydrates in your current diet cause rapid glucose spikes, usually the refined grains, processed foods, and products made with flour and sugar. Gradually replace these with whole food alternatives that provide fiber and nutrients alongside their carbohydrate content. Build your meals around protein and vegetables. Adding appropriate carbohydrates informs your body can process slowly, to monitor how you feel rather than obsessing over numbers, paying attention to energy levels, hunger patterns, and mood stability as indicators of metabolic improvement. Over time, these choices compound into profound transformation. The stubborn belly fat that resisted previous efforts begins diminishing consistently. Your body composition shifts toward increased lean mass and decreased fat percentage. Your energy becomes reliable throughout the day rather than dependent on constant snacking. Your mental clarity sharpens as neurological inflammation decreases. Your confidence grows as you finally experience the results that seemed impossible before. This is Quick Fix Magic Hits biological optimization that produces lasting change. Because it addresses causation rather than merely suppressing symptoms, the journey to lose weight healthily and boost metabolism permanently isn't about finding the perfect diet or the ultimate supplement. It is about understanding how your body processes different types of carbohydrates and making informed choices that support metabolic flexibility rather than insulin-driven fat storage. When you eliminate the specific carbs that sabotage fat burning and replace them with alternatives that nourish your metabolism, you create conditions where slimming occurs naturally, energy flows abundantly, and health becomes the effortless byproduct of eating in alignment with your biology. This is the transformation available to anyone willing to look beyond conventional weight loss tips and embrace the metabolic truth that changes everything. There's a natural solution to speed up your metabolism, control cravings, and support your weight loss journey naturally and effectively. Click the link in the first pinned comment to start transforming your body. If you want to truly transform your body and learn how to lose belly fat healthily, don't stop here. In the next video, I'll share practical strategies and little-known secrets to boost your metabolism and keep the weight off for good. Click now and discover how to take your weight loss to the next level.